All right, on to question number 2. Now, let's give a little bit of context to this question. We've seen it in sports a few times with players kind of gambling on themselves, getting the guaranteed contract option right now with their current team, or betting on themselves, proving it over the course of the next year, and then going and cashing out in a free agency situation. So using Juan Soto, for example, right now, he just turned down a $400 million plus contract to not stay with Washington in the long term. So my question to you, gentlemen, if you were in Juan Soto's place as a top talent, are you leaving your current situation or staying? Let's go ahead and start with round one's winner, Steve.
I mean, for me, I would say that the context, right, is whether you're the best player on the team, you're the best paid player on the team. Does it make sense to stay where you're at or move on? For me, what I always look at, I want to be on the best team. I don't have to be the best player on the team. That's not important to me. I want to be on the best team, but whoever's leading us better know what they're doing and has enough opportunity for me to grow into it, right? If I can hit all my goals on your team, I can follow. I don't have to be the alpha. So I don't know a lot of people out there where I can follow them. Elon Musk comes to mind, right? Like whatever he's trying to do, getting to the moon, I can fit my vision, or going to Mars, I can fit my vision somewhere in going to Mars. But I quit Intel to go chase my dreams. They asked me what it was going to take to keep me back when I was 27. It's like $200,000 a year. They're like, we wish you the best of luck, right? But yeah, for me, I would be willing to stay in one situation.
All right. So Steve going to Mars coming up. Let's go with CJ.
Yeah. So, I mean, being top talent is always such a tricky place. And I think we have to point out the fact that although he's getting offered, $530 million over, I think, 15 years.
$500 million.
Half a billion
over 15 years.
Over 15 years. But the key point here is he doesn't have ownership, right? And so when you're top talent and you don't have ownership, the only thing you can leverage is your talent itself, right? And I think what he's in a position of having to do is say, hey, listen, I'm the best person here. I'm the best person on this team. Can I believe in the Nationals to either build around me? Am I going to see where I can still get paid what I deserve as top talent? And you guys can also build a support system around me. Or is there another organization who can either pay me the same amount and accomplish that, or I can take less money but have a better team environment and a better winning environment? Because I think he understands this, a simple point. It's not a one-person game, right? When you're working in a business, you're top talent in a company. Yeah, if you're making all the money, that's great. But if everybody around you doesn't eat, company culture, things of that nature. So that's where I'm at on that one for sure.
Great points. Great points. Leon Barnes.
So I would have answered this question differently when I was 23 years old, like Juan Soto. Perspective and age gives, it's huge. 20 years his senior, 22 years his senior. This question is better answered for me this way. Like, I personally believe that happiness is more important than money. Rich guys, I used to think that was what rich guys like Steve Trang and Eric Brewer and CJ used to say to me. And I thought it was bogus in my 20s. But in Juan's case, if I were advising him, I would want to know, and anyone that is a great talent, what is the commitment to excellence? What is the commitment to winning? To Steve's point, if I'm going to be an employee, I want to be led by greatness. I want to be surrounded by other talent as well. So in order for me, I'm chasing happiness, and I also want to continue to, maximize my talent and opportunities. And to me, that's more important than that money, because the money's going to come. He's talented.
Yeah. All right. And last but certainly not least, Eric Brewer, your opinions.
Yeah, I would say at the end of the day, I think it's easy for us to all sit back and make assumptions about how that situation should be treated. It would be really hard for me not to just take the bag. I mean, at the end of the day, $500 million, to Chris's point, he can be an owner of something next year. Maybe not of a baseball team. He can be a part owner, but there's certainly a counterpoint to say, and this is at any pay level, right? Once they say technically, once you go above $75,000 a year, it does not have an impact on your happiness. That money is effectively wasted. So there are plenty of people out there with $500 million that are miserable. So I think if that money was in alignment with his overarching purpose and his goals, that's awesome. He should go get both. If not, if you had 400 million versus 500 million, probably doesn't change your lifestyle.
Yeah.
One thing I've seen a lot in mentoring people over the years is watching them like, you know what, I've had the success. I'm ready to go do this on my own. And, you talk about ownership and so on, which I totally get, right? Because everyone here on this call has done that. I think one of the things that they don't appreciate enough is how challenging some things could be. So that the skills that they're great at on closing or whatever doesn't necessarily translate to owning a sales and a marketing organization. And like you can make some really good money working for Chris, Leon, or maybe Eric, right? Where with no risk, right? As a salesperson, with no risk. So you got to balance that, in the context of our organizations. Like, can I make more money out there with more risk, or do I make really good money with zero risk? And what's worthwhile? Going back to Leon's comment about pursuing happiness and so on.
Yeah, I think another thing on that too, real quick, is I think you're always, if you're in the position of Soto, right, you're struggling with the prospect of, okay, this is my value currently, but I am the top player, I am the top talent, I am the leadership in the side of the locker room, so to speak. So then what sway do I have as a non-owner in conversations? We always talk about LeBron and him being the GM and things of that nature, but there's something to be said for that, right? Like if I'm the top talent on the team, I want to be in that meeting, giving my opinion, being heard, feeling like I'm being listened to. So I think that has a lot to do with it for him, I'm sure, as well, not just the money itself also.
Well, and this doesn't really relate necessarily to employees. And here's why. Most employees that are super talented are not signing a 15-year deal where they are locked in and their value doesn't necessarily change. This gentleman, in 5 years, that $500 million, the value may be $1 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to sign a 15-year deal
at this pace.
What's that?
With inflation, it'll be worth $100 million.
Yeah, so his value is going to continue to go up, and so this one's a little bit different.
Well, and with Leon's 15-year non-compete in the clause.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's definitely Leon's non-trade clause right there.
The voting will be closing in a few seconds here, everyone in the chat. So please feel free to throw your last second votes in there. Gentlemen, I think you had some great points. I loved what Eric Brewer said. I would have a hard time saying no to the bag too. But CJ also, if you're that important, you want to be heard. I can definitely understand that. And to that point, it looks like CJ took this round in his version of a landslide. You're showing off a little bit, 10% more than what Steve had. So that's the way to humble him. CJ, you took that one.
There you go. That's the inflation right there. That's the inflation.
See how quickly it happens.